stop making the excuses. Hey everyone, welcome back to Party of One Podcast. This is a podcast about a lot of things, such as dealing with life, how to take it as it comes, and increasing your spirit of discernment, growing in your faith, a lot of things. So let's just jump into the podcast. It's a lot easier said than done. It's challenging to feel like I want to do this thing for myself, but I just don't do it. And I think when you can understand why that happens, it may become a little bit easier for you to stop making the excuses when you want to do something for yourself, for others, for your life, for your career, whatever the case is. I wrote in the community tab a couple of weeks ago, talk about some topics. I'll try to do my best to explain how I viewed it and just pray that the Holy Spirit speaks through me in this video so that it can touch and reach one of you guys to empower your purpose. Letting go of things and people when it hurts the heart, but it's best for the journey. I want to combine that one with been wanting to pursue my path, but keep coming up with excuses. And then someone had also replied, it either feels like a chore, who likes chores, LOL, right? Or you don't want to do it because what you want to do, you do that every day. And I think that was more of like a response to that, like, oh, you do whatever you do every day is what you want to do. Even if it's not what you want to do, it's just what you do. So let's first dissect the excuses part. It's easy to make an excuse because it's what you have created a habit around. I've talked about this before in one of my earlier first 2 videos on YouTube. I talked about a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I highly recommend reading that book. I'm not sponsored to say this at all, but it is just a really empowering book into your mindset and the way and why you think about certain things. And what it said to me, it had said, I'm trying to recall the passage by memory. It said, if you make the habit harder to not accomplish, it becomes easier to do it. So that's like saying, say you sign up for a course, or you get a personal trainer and you have to pay them up front. It's going to be a lot harder for you not to do it when you know that money is literally going to go down the drain if you don't show up or if you don't complete the course. So you put yourself in predicaments, or you put yourself in spaces where it makes it harder to say no to the thing that you really want to do. Because the thing about it is that we're creatures of habit. So if our habit for the last 6 months, year, 3 years, 5 years has been to just sit on the couch after, finishing school or finishing work and just binge watching Netflix, what changes just because you have a thought that you want to be an entrepreneur or a realtor or a content creator or a lawyer? We all want to do things. We have several thoughts every day. But what's the difference between thinking the thoughts and doing the action? It's the habit. It's the routine we create. So if you decide, I'm going to come back from my classes or work or, whatever you're doing, and for 15 minutes, I'm not even going to give myself an hour. I'm not going to make it this big, long, strenuous task, because that's what stops a lot of people from continuing something. Starting isn't the problem. Continuing is. So what you do is you create a routine that is so easy, it almost makes no sense for you not to do it for that short of amount of time. So if you say, I have a gym in my apartment, I'll just go walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes. Low effort, low capacity, close proximity. It almost makes no sense for you not to do that, especially for only 15 minutes. You can watch a YouTube video. You can watch this YouTube video while you're on the treadmill, so don't make the things that you want to do in your life so hard, because I think you get into a groove and then you stop and you're like, oh yeah, I do remember when I was really pumped up to see my dreams work, but I put too much stress on it in the front end, and then I just got lazy and started doing what I kept doing. It's not an excuse. It's just an unrealistic expectation until you form a habit. That's what that is. And it's important not to be hard on yourself either when you're starting something or continuing it. Because sometimes people are in the midst of doing years of work and not seeing any real results. But the thing is, you just have to alter, how much of that you actually do. What's the missing component? Maybe you're holding it too tight. Maybe you're spending too much time on the excuse of elevating where it could be. Maybe you need to dial it back just a little bit so you can see the vision a little bit more clearly. Because sometimes we get so up close and we're like, okay, like just back up and look at it from a bird's eye view and be like, okay, why am I getting, unmotivated from this thing that I really wanted months ago? If you slow it down and focus on something else while still keeping it at a low effort kind of energy, eventually your brain is able to conceptualize more things that can happen with that idea that you're building, or just allow you to see more in that moment without realizing that you're thinking about how to be better or do better. Subconsciously, it's just a part of who you're becoming. And I wanted to combine these two of letting go things and people when it hurts, but it's best for the journey, with making excuses, because I feel like sometimes our excuses can be a foundation of that. It can be a foundation of thinking about the people in our lives and the environments that we have always been in. And it can be really hard to see more for yourself, and I'm just going to make it the most extremist example. Say you don't come from like a really well-off family, or just it's really tough. You've had part-time job after part-time job after part-time job, and you want to be a millionaire, or at least someone who is financially stable enough to not have to worry about if I have to choose between paying the rent or paying the groceries. Everyone doesn't have to be a millionaire. Sometimes you can just want to be financially stable. And it's actually the easier route, in my opinion, because you get to keep your freedom. But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyways, point is say you want to get to that space, but the people in your life just don't really make it that easy. Or there are a lot of limiting beliefs that are being thrown on you. I went to a seminar in Texas about a couple weeks ago, and it was a really enlightening seminar. It was great. It talked a lot about how you think about yourself is eventually who you become, and the limiting beliefs that not others place on you, but that you place on yourself, can be the priority reason why you don't become the person that you want to become. If your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or girlfriend or friends are saying, that's crazy, and sometimes they're not discouraging you. Sometimes it's literally just like banter, but it hurts because it's something that you want. And the fact that the people that you most care about and love around you don't see that for yourself either can be very discouraging. But remember that God did not give them that vision. He gave that to you. So of course they won't be able to see how it can be done or executed because it's not their vision. It's not that part of their purpose. It's not what they're passionate about. So you have to really be careful about accepting the limiting beliefs that others place on you that you then internalize for yourself. And it's tough, especially if you're younger. Creating a new environment is very limited for you if you are under the age of 18, or sometimes even 21, It can feel like I cannot go anywhere but school and home and then maybe work. You have to find in your environment, and not just your house, like your city, if it is your school, finding a different space in your school, finding a different space in your workplace when you have a break. Putting yourself in different environments, and the environments that you're already in can allow you to create a different perspective and mindset for yourself. And it's not doing the same thing every day, engaging in the same conversations. It's going to take doing things that feel really uncomfortable for a while until they start feeling comfortable again. So knowing that everyone can't come with you with where you're going. And that's the toughest part, right? You love the people in your life and you care about them and you want to see them win as badly as you want to see yourself win. But you have to understand that you can't want something more for someone else that they don't want for themselves. So if you want to cheer them and root them on, that's fine. Do that silently if they don't want to hear it. But you always remember that you have a dream and a goal and a vision too. You want to live in the purpose that God has ordained for your life. And if you're steady focused on how people are going to perceive you if you decide to do something that hurts them but elevates you, it's just kind of one of those things in life that we're all going to have to experience in one way or another. And it doesn't, and by hurting them and helping you, I'm not saying put people down so you can see yourself rise up. I mean, if you've prayed over it and you feel like, I just really feel called to do X, Y, and Z, but your family can only really see you in one space. You're their baby. They don't want you to leave. Ask them to just support you. And even if they don't, know that you have to love yourself enough to support yourself, and know that God is not going to put you in places where you don't belong, even if you feel like you're not ready for it yet. You know? So don't think that you can't be where you want to be just because you don't want to hurt others. Someone's going to get hurt in the process. It's either going to be them because you decided to take a chance on yourself, or it's going to be you because you decided not to further who you could become. So just trust in yourself and pray over everything. If you have any doubts, worries, anxieties, pray over everything. Ask God to reveal to you what should be done. And if you decide to take a path that you're unsure about, ask in prayer, am I on the right path? And if not, ask to be redirected. And sometimes you'll just start seeing how things maybe start shifting in life. And you're like, okay, this is the sign. This is the prayer that I was looking for, because things are starting to go really wonky, and they've been wonky for a while. So maybe I should figure out if I need to do something different. So I hope that gave you a little bit more perspective into both of those topics. Thank you for sharing those, because again, I'm sure that someone has had the same thoughts and questions that you had. And so I just thank you for being vulnerable so that I could speak about it the best way I know how from my experience, so that you can apply it into your life and become the person that you want to become. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Party of One Pod, and I will see you guys on the next episode. I'm going to create another community tab. Be vulnerable. I will try to speak to it as best as I can, and I hope these videos have helped. See you guys next time. Peace.